I still remember the first time I saw Vanessa Cole. It was 3 years ago, at a marketing conference in Chicago. And she walked up to my table like she already owned the room. "Your presentation was the only one that didn't bore me to death," she said, sliding into the seat across from me. "Daniel Reyes, right?" "That's me," I said, trying not to sound as nervous as I felt. "And you are the person who's going to convince you to start a company with me?" I laughed. That's a bold pitch for someone who just met me 10 seconds ago. "I don't waste time," she said. "Neither should you." She was right. 6 months later, we'd quit our jobs, pooled our savings, and rented a tiny office above a laundromat. We called it Reyes & Cole Marketing. It sounded official, even if our furniture came from a thrift store and our biggest client paid us in installments. "This desk wobbles," I told her the day we moved in. "Trying to balance a laptop on 3 legs and a phone book?" "Everything wobbles at the start," Vanessa said, kissing my forehead. "We'll fix it once we're rich." We worked 8-hour days. We fought about budgets, made up over takeout, and fell asleep on the office couch more nights than I could count. I trusted her with everything: my money, my name on the lease, my heart. When investors asked who ran finances, I always said the same thing: "Vanessa handles the books. I handled the clients." That's how we work. For 2 years, that's exactly how it worked. We grew from 3 clients to 30. We hired our first employee, then our 5th. Then last spring, we hired Marcus Webb. "He's got great instincts," Vanessa told me after his interview. "Sharp, fast learner. I think he'll fit right in. If you like him, hire him," I said. "You've got a better read on people than I do." I didn't think twice about it. Why would I? Marcus was just another name on the payroll until he wasn't. It started small. Vanessa began staying late to train him on client accounts. Again. I asked one night, watching her grab her coat at 9 p.m. "He's slow with the Hendricks file," she said, not quite meeting my eyes. "I want it perfect before the meeting tomorrow." "Want me to stay too?" "No, go home. Get some rest. I've got this." I believed her. I always believed her. My father noticed before I did. Harold Reyes never trusted Isley, and he liked Vanessa even less once the business got bigger. "You put her name on everything," he said one Sunday, watching me sign a lease renewal. "The lease, the bank account, the client contracts. What happens if things go bad between you two?" "Dad, we're partners. In life and in business, that's exactly what worries me." "You worry about everything. And I'm rarely wrong," he said, sliding the papers back across the table. "Just promise me you'll keep your own copies of everything. Contracts, passwords, all of it." "I will," I said, though I never actually did it. I didn't think I needed to. Priya Shah, our accountant and my closest friend since college, was the next one to raise a flag. "Daniel, can I ask you something?" she said one afternoon, spinning her chair to face me. "Always." "Did you approve a $15,000 transfer to a vendor called Coastal Media Group last week?" I frowned. "Never heard of them? Why?" "It came out of the operating account. Vanessa signed off on it. She probably forgot to tell me. We've got 20 vendors now, Priya. It's easy to lose track." "Maybe," she said, though her face told me she wasn't convinced. "Just keep an eye on it, okay?" "I will," I said, the same easy answer I gave my father. I went back to my emails and didn't think about it again. Looking back now, I wonder how many warnings I waved away that month alone. That night, Vanessa came home late again, smelling faintly of a perfume that wasn't hers. "Long day?" I asked, looking up from the couch. "You have no idea," she said, dropping her bag and heading straight for the shower. Marcus needed help finalizing the Drexler pitch. I swear, training him is a full-time job by itself. "You sure that's all it is?" She stopped at the bathroom door. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing," I said quickly. "You just seem tired a lot lately, building a company, Daniel." "Of course I'm tired." "Fair enough," I said, letting it go. But something didn't sit right with me. Maybe it was my father's voice in my head, or Priya's question about that vendor, or just the way Vanessa wouldn't quite look at me anymore. I told myself I was being paranoid. We'd built something real together, a business, a relationship, a life. People didn't throw that away. Still, the doubt sat in my chest like a stone I couldn't swallow. The following Thursday, Vanessa told me she had to work late again with Marcus to prep for a big client renewal. I said the same thing I always said, no problem. Take your time, and watched her leave the apartment at 7 p.m. But this time, I didn't go to bed early like she expected. I grabbed my jacket, told myself I was just bringing her dinner, and drove to the office. Maybe I needed to see for myself that nothing was wrong. Maybe some part of me already knew the truth and just wasn't ready to admit it. I parked outside, looked up at the lit window on the second floor, and walked toward the door that would change everything. The front door was unlocked. I climbed the stairs 2 at a time, my heart pounding for reasons I didn't want to name yet. I pushed open the office door and stopped cold. Vanessa was in Marcus's arms, her hand on his chest, laughing at something he'd said. They hadn't heard me come in. Vanessa. She jumped back like she'd been burned. Marcus didn't even flinch. Daniel, she said, smoothing her blouse. What are you doing here? I brought you dinner, I said, holding up the bag like an idiot, like food could explain away what I was looking at. What's going on? It's not what it looks like, she started. Then what is it? My voice cracked, because it looks like my girlfriend is wrapped around an employee in our office. Marcus leaned back against the desk, arms crossed, almost amused. Maybe you should knock next time. Shut up, Marcus. I stepped toward Vanessa. Tell me the truth. Right now? She looked at me for a long moment, and something in her face changed. The warmth I'd known for 3 years drained out of it, replaced by something cold and calculated. Fine, she said. You want the truth? Sit down. I don't want to sit. I want answers. There's a company called Coastal Media Group, she said flatly. I registered it 8 months ago. The name hit me like a slap. Priya asked me about that. I told her it was probably a vendor. It's not a vendor, Vanessa said. It's mine. Client contracts have been rooting through it for months. The Drexler renewal, the Hendricks account, 3 others. By the time you noticed, they'd already be gone. I couldn't breathe. Gone where? To a company I actually control? One where I don't have to split profits with someone who still thinks client dinners count as billable hours. That's our business, I said. Our clients. Our names are both on every contract. Your name, she said. Not mine, not really. I've been planning my exit since spring. 8 months, I repeated, the words tasting like poison. You've been stealing from me for 8 months. I've been protecting myself, she snapped. You think I didn't see this coming? You're sentimental, Daniel. You sign things without reading them. You trust everyone. Eventually, that was going to cost me everything I built. We built it together. No, she said, stepping closer, her voice sharp enough to cut. I built it. You just stood next to me and smiled at clients. Marcus laughed under his breath. I turned on him. You think this is funny? I think it's impressive, he said. 3 years and you never once checked the vendor list yourself. Never asked for your own copy of the contracts. Your dad warned you, didn't he? I heard about that. My stomach dropped. How do you know what my dad said? Vanessa tells me things, Marcus said, smirking. We talk a lot. How long? I asked Vanessa, how long have you two been? Does it matter? She said, you're losing the company. Focus on that. It matters to me. For months, she said, like she was reading off a grocery list. Around the same time, I started moving the contracts. Funny how those things lined up, isn't it? I felt something break inside my chest, quiet and total, like a window cracking under pressure no one could see from outside. You used me, I said. My money, my name, my trust. All of it. I used what was available, Vanessa said. That's business, Daniel. You should have learned that by now. This isn't business. This is betrayal. Call it whatever helps you sleep tonight. I looked at her, really looked, and didn't recognize a single thing about her face anymore. I'm done, I said. Both of you. I'm done. I walked out before either of them could say another word, because if I'd stayed one more second, I might have said something I couldn't take back. I sat in my car in the parking lot, hands shaking too hard to put the key in the ignition. Then I called Priya. Daniel, it's almost 10. What's wrong? Coastal Media Group, I said. Tell me what you know. All of it. Silence stretched on the line. Daniel, Priya, please. I started noticing transfers a few months ago, she said quietly. Small ones at first. I didn't have proof of anything, just a bad feeling. I didn't want to accuse her without being sure. I didn't want to be the reason your relationship fell apart over a guess. It wasn't a guess, I said. I just watched her admit it. Her and Marcus. Both of them, Marcus too. Priya's voice dropped. Oh, Daniel. I'm so sorry. How long did you suspect? 3 months? Maybe 4. 3 months, I repeated. Everyone knew. Everyone but me. We didn't know for sure, Priya said. I should have pushed harder. I'm sorry I didn't. I need to see everything. I said every transfer, every contract, every signature. Tomorrow, I'll pull it all together. I promise. I hung up and sat in the dark parking lot for a long time, staring at the lit window 2 floors up, where the two of them were probably still talking like nothing had happened. I drove home that night and sat on the couch where Vanessa and I used to fall asleep together after long days. I thought about the lease with both our names on it. The bank account I never separated. The contracts I signed without reading twice. My father's warning. Priya's question about Coastal Media Group. Every red flag. I'd folded up and tucked away because I trusted the wrong person too completely. I wasn't just heartbroken. I was humiliated. I'd built a life with someone who'd been planning to dismantle it from the inside for the better part of a year, and I hadn't seen a single piece of it coming. I sat there until the sun came up, replaying every conversation, every late night, every excuse I'd believed without question, wondering how I'd missed so much, and promising myself I'd never be that blind again. For 4 days, I didn't leave my apartment. I didn't answer client emails. I didn't call Priya for the documents I'd demanded that night in the parking lot. I just sat there, replaying the same conversation over and over, like rewinding a wound to see if it would hurt less the 10th time. It didn't. My sister Olivia let herself in on the 5th day with a key I'd forgotten she had. Hey, you look terrible, she said, dropping her bag on my counter. Very helpful, Mom called me. Said you haven't answered her in a week. She crossed her arms. What's going on, Daniel? Vanessa's been stealing from me for 8 months. With Marcus. Both at once. Olivia's face went still. I'm going to kill her. Get in line. So what's the plan? There is no plan, I said. I don't even know if I want the company anymore. It's not you talking. That's the guy who just got blindsided. Maybe that guy's right. Maybe that guy needs to get off this couch, she said. Before you lose everything you actually built just because someone hurt you. My father showed up an hour later. Like Olivia had called him the second she walked in, which, knowing them, she probably had. You're hiding, he said. No greeting, no softness, just the truth, the way he always gave it. I'm processing. You're hiding, he repeated. I warned you about putting her name on everything. I know, Dad. I'm not saying it to gloat. I'm saying it because you can still fix this if you stop feeling sorry for yourself long enough to fight. Fight how? She's already moved the contracts. It's done. Nothing's done until a lawyer tells you it's done, he said. Call Tom. Today. I called Tom Riley that afternoon, mostly because arguing with my father took more energy than I had left. Send me the partnership agreement, Tom said. Everything. Don't summarize it, just send the whole file. 2 days later, he called back, and for the first time since that night, I heard something other than dread in my own chest. Daniel. This contract has a non-compete and an exclusivity clause, Tom said. Vanessa registering a separate company and routing client contracts through it, that's a direct breach. A serious one, meaning what? Meaning you have legal standing to freeze those contracts and possibly recover damages? This isn't just a breakup, Daniel. It's fraud, and you've got paper to prove it. What do I need? Financial records. Every transfer tied to Coastal Media Group. Dates, amounts, signatures. Can Priya get that? She's already working on it. Shh. She was. Priya called me that same night, her voice tight with something between excitement and nerves. I need to tell you something, she said. Ethan reached out to me. Ethan. Vanessa's brother? He's been a silent partner in Coastal Media Group this whole time, on paper at least. But he didn't know what Vanessa was actually using it for until recently. He's furious. Is he going to protect her? No, Priya said. He's scared he'll get dragged into a fraud case he didn't sign up for. He wants to talk to you. I met Ethan at a coffee shop 2 blocks from the office the next morning. He looked exhausted, like he hadn't slept either. I didn't know it was this bad, he said, before I'd even sat down. She told me it was a backup entity. Tax purposes. I believed her. Sounds familiar, I said. I have the account records, Ethan said, sliding a flash drive across the table. Every deposit, every transfer. I want out of this, Daniel. I won't go down for something she planned without me. Why give this to me instead of just disappearing? Because she's my sister, and I love her, he said. But what she did to you isn't something I can pretend I didn't see. I took the drive like it was made of glass that night. Priya and I sat at my kitchen table with Ethan's records spread across my laptop screen, cross-referencing every transfer against our original client contracts. It's all here, Priya said. 15 separate diversions over 8 months. This is more than enough for Tom to build a case. I stared at the numbers. At 8 months of betrayal, laid out in clean spreadsheet rows, and felt something shift inside me, not less pain, but a different kind of energy underneath it. I want to do something, I said. But not what you're probably picturing. What do you mean? Priya asked. I'm not going to sabotage her back. I'm not going to leak some embarrassing story or trash her name out of spite. I want to build a case so clean that the truth does the damage on its own. That's slower, Priya said. It's also undeniable, I said. If I come out swinging with anger, I look bitter. If I come out with proof, I look right. I want to walk into that mediation as the guy who got wronged and still did things the right way. That's the version of me I actually want to be again. Priya smiled for the first time in days. There he is. Tom said the contracts can be frozen, I said already, pulling up my email. I want every client who's been redirected to Coastal Media Group to know exactly what happened. With documentation, calmly and clearly. No drama, just facts. And Vanessa. Vanessa gets exactly what the law says she gets. Nothing more, nothing less. For the first time since that night in the office, I didn't feel like the man standing in the dark, watching his life fall apart. I felt like someone with a plan, quiet, steady, and finally pointed in the right direction. Tom filed the legal claim on a Tuesday morning. By Tuesday afternoon, I was on the phone with every client whose contract had been quietly CE routed to Coastal Media Group. Daniel. This is a lot to take in, said Grace Liu, our biggest account. When I called her myself instead of letting a lawyer's letter do it for me, you're telling me my contract was moved without my knowledge? Yes, I said. I have the documentation, the dates, everything. I wanted you to hear it from me directly, not from a legal notice. Why are you telling me this instead of just quietly fixing it? Because you deserve to know who you're actually working with, I said. And because I'd rather lose your business by being honest than keep it by hiding something. There was a pause on the line. Most people in your position would have spun this to protect themselves. I'm not interested in spin. I'm interested in doing this right. Send me everything, Grace said. And Daniel, when this settles, I want to talk. Not about the old contract. About something new? New how? I've been thinking about diversifying who handles my accounts, she said. I like how you handled this. That tells me more about a person than any pitch deck ever could. I hung up feeling something I hadn't felt in weeks. Not vindication exactly. Just the quiet sense that maybe I hadn't lost everything after all. Vanessa called me that same night. Her voice clipped and furious. 3 clients pulled out today, she said. 3. Daniel. What did you do? I told them the truth. You could have ruined me quietly. Instead, you went scorched earth, sent facts and documents, I said. If the truth ruins you, that's not on me. You think this makes you the good guy? I think it makes me someone who finally stopped covering for you." She hung up without another word. 2 days later, Priya called with news that almost made me laugh out loud for the first time in a month. "Marcus got sloppy," she said. "He sent a client email from his personal account instead of the company one, bragging about taking over a much bigger book of business soon. The client forwarded it straight to Tom." "Bragging? To a client?" "He's panicking," Priya said. "Vanessa's distancing herself from him publicly now that the lawsuit's out, and he's trying to look important to anyone who'll listen." That same week, I got an unexpected call from a woman named Sandra Webb. "You don't know me," she said, "but I'm Marcus's ex-wife. I saw the notice about the lawsuit online and figured you should know something. I'm listening." "He did this before," Sandra said. "At his last job, got close to the owner's wife, helped move some accounts around before everything blew up. I lost a lot in our divorce because of debts tied to that mess. I just didn't want another person to go through what I went through without knowing the pattern. Would you be willing to put that in writing? For my lawyer?" "Gladly," she said. "It's about time someone paid for what he does to people." I passed everything to Tom that evening: Marcus's email, Sandra's statement, the pattern stretching back years. "This is good," Tom said. "Not just for the case against Coastal Media Group, but for negotiating leverage. Marcus is a liability to Vanessa now, not an asset. If we push the right way, she might cut him loose just to save herself." "I don't want to destroy him out of spite," I said. "I want this resolved fairly. If the truth happens to cost him—" "Resolved fairly. If the truth happens to cost him everything, that's a consequence he built himself," noted, Tom said. "I'll use it carefully." A week later, Ethan called me, his voice low like he didn't want anyone overhearing. "She knows I gave you the records," he said. "She's not speaking to me. I'm sorry, Ethan." "Don't be." "I made my choice, and I'd make it again." He paused. "She thought no one would ever turn on her. Not me, not Marcus, not the clients. She built this whole plan assuming everyone around her would just stay loyal no matter what she did. And now? Now she's finding out that's not how loyalty works," Ethan said. I saw Vanessa once more before the mediation by accident, at a coffee shop near the old office. She looked thinner, tired, the confidence I used to find magnetic, now brittle around the edges. "You happy?" she asked, sliding into the seat across from me without asking. "Watching it all fall apart?" "I'm not happy about any of this," I said. "I never wanted to watch you lose everything. Then why do it?" "Because you tried to take everything I built and walk away clean. I just made sure that didn't happen." "Marcus barely talks to me anymore," she said, quieter now. "Half my clients are gone. Even Ethan turned on me." "You spent 8 months making sure everyone around you was disposable," I said, "including me. People remember being treated that way." "I didn't think it would go this far." "You didn't think I'd fight back," I said. "That's different." She didn't have an answer for that. For the first time since that night in the office, I watched something crack in her, not regret exactly, but the slow, sinking realization that the plan she'd built so carefully was coming apart in her hands, piece by piece. With nothing left to hold it together, I stood up before she could say anything else. "The mediation's in 4 days," I said. "Bring your lawyer. I'll bring mine. Let's finish this the right way." I left her sitting there, and for the first time in a long time, I walked out of a room feeling steady instead of shattered. Asterisk. The mediation room felt too small for everything that was about to happen in it. Tom sat beside me, calm and ready. Across the table, Vanessa sat with her lawyer, her hands folded tight enough that her knuckles had gone pale. Marcus wasn't there. I noticed that immediately. "Where's Marcus?" I asked, mostly out of curiosity. "He retained separate counsel," Vanessa's lawyer said flatly. "He's not part of this settlement discussion." "Smart move," Tom muttered to me. "Means he's distancing himself before the fraud claims hit." "Won't matter. The evidence stands on its own." Before the formal session started, Vanessa asked for 5 minutes alone with me. Against Tom's better judgment, I agreed. 5 minutes, I said, stepping into the hallway with her. "I've been thinking," she said, her voice softer than I'd heard it in weeks, "about us before all this. We were good together once, Daniel. Once I agreed. What if we settled this privately? Just you and me. No lawyers, no public record. We could even talk about starting over. Differently this time. I almost laughed, except none of it felt funny. Starting over with the person who spent 8 months planning my downfall. That's not fair. It's exactly fair, I said. You're not trying to fix something between us. You're trying to avoid losing in there. There's a difference. Daniel, I loved you, I said. I trusted you with my money, my name, my future. You didn't just take a business from me. You took the version of me that believed people don't do that to someone they claim to love. I'm not handing you anything else to take. She didn't say anything for a long moment. So that's it? That's it, I said. Let's go finish this the right way. Back in the room, the settlement moved faster than I expected. With Ethan's records, Sandra's statement, and Marcus's reckless email already on file. Vanessa's lawyer had almost nothing left to argue with. Given the documented breach of the partnership agreement and the diversion of client contracts, the mediator said, the agency's core assets, client list, and brand name revert fully to Mr. Reyes. Coastal Media Group will be dissolved, with all diverted funds returned through structured repayment. Tom asked. Mr. Webb has no ownership claim to anything, the mediator said. He's named in the fraud complaint separately. Given his employment history, I doubt he'll find it easy to secure another position in this industry. Vanessa stared at the table, saying nothing. Miss Cole, the mediator continued, do you accept these terms? I don't have much choice, do I? She said quietly. You do, I said. You could have told the truth 8 months ago instead of building all this in the dark. This is just where that choice landed you, she signed without looking up. I walked out of that building lighter than I'd felt in over a month. Outside, Priya was waiting with 2 coffees, handing me one without a word. How do you feel? She asked. It's like I finally exhaled. I said, took long enough. 3 weeks later, I stood in a new office 2 blocks from the old one, watching movers carry in furniture that actually matched. Grace Lee walked through the door holding a small potted plant. Office warming gift, she said. Don't kill it. I'll check. Noted, I said, setting it on the windowsill. Reyes and Lou, marketing, she said, reading the half-finished sign propped against the wall. Has a nice sound to it. Better than the last name on the door, that's for sure. You built something good out of something terrible, Grace said. Not everyone manages that. I had a lot of help, I said. You, Priya, Tom, even Ethan in his own way. And your dad, she added, smiling. Priya told me he still checks in every single day. He's earned the right to say I told you so for the rest of my life. Later that evening, after Grace and Priya had left and the office had gone quiet, I sat at my new desk and went through a box of old files I'd brought from the apartment. Near the bottom, I found a photo of Vanessa and me from our first year, both of us laughing outside the old office. Back when I still believed every word she said, I looked at it for a long time. Not with anger, not even with sadness exactly. Just a quiet kind of recognition, the way you look at an old version of yourself you don't quite recognize anymore. I didn't tear it up. I didn't need a dramatic gesture to prove I'd moved on. I just slid it into a drawer, closed it, turned back to the stack of new client contracts waiting on my desk. Contracts with only my name on them this time, and copies kept safely in 3 different places. My father had been right about that, in the end. About a lot of things. I picked up my pen and signed the first one. I'd spent 3 years believing that love meant giving someone everything without question. I knew better now. Trust wasn't something you handed over blindly and hoped for the best. It was something you built carefully. People who proved again and again that they deserved it. I hadn't gotten revenge in the way Marcus or Vanessa probably expected. I hadn't burned anything down out of spite. I'd just told the truth, built my case patiently, and let consequences fall where they belonged. That was enough. More than enough, actually. For the first time in months, I felt something close to peace. Not because I'd won exactly, but because I'd finally stopped losing myself.